help our real estate friends here, because you've been able to scale your business in the last few years, killer, and the market's been down. So you're up over the last 5 years while the market has less sales in that time. Like, is there anything special that you're doing to like cater to your clients that they really want to keep working with you? Well, let's just jump right in. Welcome to the podcast, Sarah Jenkins.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on I was on yours.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm excited to chat with you a little bit about today. You're hailing as a realtor out of River Falls, Wisconsin, right? You're more than just a realtor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're a realtor, property investor, property manager, builder. Like, there's a lot of things going on.
I feel like we can offer almost anything.
Yeah, right?
Any of your real estate needs, I feel like we've got you covered.
Yeah, Perfect. Just clip that right there. So awesome. So where do you originally hail from?
So I grew up in Eden Prairie.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, grew up in Eden Prairie and went to school at the U of M. And you want me to talk about how I,
Let's hear the story.
Yeah, growing up, I always thought I'd become a teacher. So I went to the U of M thinking I'd go to school for teaching. Met my husband there. Fun little fact, we were cheerleaders for the Gophers, and that's how we met.
So your husband is a cheerleader?
My husband was also a cheerleader.
What is it? Are they a male cheerleader? Is that what it is?
Yes.
So they don't know if there's like a special name for it.
Yep.
So are you jumping and like doing flips and stuff?
Yes. Well, I was a gymnast. That's how I kind of got into cheerleading. And
were you the one that like literally won the air and spun around?
I sure was.
You were?
Yes.
Really? And he was the catcher?
Yes.
Or the pusher or whatever that's
both. Yes.
Stunting? Is that what you called it earlier?
Stunting, yes.
Really?
Yes, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Did you ever fall?
Yep.
Really? Like, because I feel like to get high for college, they're like some serious stuff.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
You recover, you get back up, right? Just like life.
Wow. Like, yeah. Okay. That makes sense because you're really tall.
Right.
So that's like.
Yeah. Again, the height of a fourth grader, right?
Yeah, right. You were saying that whole crew as well, 4'10" to 5'2".
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Everybody's got to weigh 100 pounds to be able to throw them that high in the air, right? Yes. That's fun. That was probably really fun.
It was. It was a great time. And, but yeah, that's how we met. And I feel like a lot of my real estate career got started because of him. He actually had his real estate license for about a year while we were in college. And he's like, you should get your license. I think you'd like it. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna teach preschoolers. And long story short, he and I got married. 2 weeks after we got married, he had a job with a construction company. He quit and he started his own business. So that would have been 2004. So he started his business. We had also at that time had started investing in properties. So
did you fresh out of college?
I was still in college.
Oh, you were.
He's just a few years older than me. So you
were able to get a loan, right?
Yeah.
So you were able to get a mortgage to be able to buy your first property.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So the very first one he put a big addition on, and actually we probably sold it 5 years ago, down at the U of M. And then the second one was our house, which was about a 400 square foot little home. And again, he did another big addition, and we sold that and moved out 400 square feet. It was so like the kitchen counter space was about this big, and the fridge I was taller than the refrigerator that was in that house.
Yeah, that's
it was
that Minneapolis house too.
Yeah, it was over by Lake Nokomis.
Okay, so it's a good area.
Yeah, we loved it over there. But decided he was born and raised in River Falls, and he was kind of getting to the point where I want to build. Do we build out on the west side where I grew up, or do we build out in River Falls? We decided River Falls. So that's kind of how we ended up out there.
For an Eden Prairie girl, is that like a long...
It was a big change for me.
Yeah.
It made me a little... sounds silly, but I was like, we're so far from like a store, like a Target or Walmart or something like that. Although at the time it did have Shopko now it doesn't. But those things are like the things that I now appreciate about being in a small town. We support our community and shop locally when we can and all that good stuff. But yeah, so that's what brought me to River Falls. And then from there, we started to have kids. The market crashed. So he was no longer home building right after the birth of my son. So then...
Were you teaching?
I was not teaching. We had another home-based business that I would say I maintained it while he was busy working. And then I was actually getting my master's degree. So I have a master's in education, but I'm selling homes now.
Do you ever use it?
I would say I use it every day. I'm educating always. Yeah. But yeah, so he kind of got out of home building and into the maintenance of foreclosures, securing and maintaining foreclosures. And from there, so that was 2008, 2009. And his business grew. And so we had about, I think at the peak, 53 employees. So I was working for him. That's kind of how we shifted. I helped him out, and then...
What were they doing to 53 employees?
Oh, we had crews going, from the Twin Cities all the way to Milwaukee. We were just winterizing homes, putting on new locks, cutting the grass. There were some renovations in there, were bigger projects that he did. Not very many for a while. And then also during that time, we started purchasing more rental properties. And at that point, our kids were getting into grade school, and it was like, well, maybe one of us should get a license. And so I decided that I was going to get my real estate license, mainly for ourselves. But the pleasant surprise is I love what I do, and yeah.
What year was that?
8 years ago. Almost 8 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then I would imagine by then foreclosures drying up.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that business.
He got right back into home building and renovating. And from there, we kind of also, with our own properties, we're managing enough that we're like, well, maybe we should see if some of our friends want us to manage. And the management side fit into what he had already been doing with the foreclosures. So we started a property management company at that time as well.
So Jenkins Property Management.
Yes.
So how many units do you guys?
We have about 325 that we manage. Pretty much they're all almost River Falls or Hudson.
Okay, cool. So you got a pretty good idea on the rental market there then.
Yes. Huh? Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. And how many units do you guys personally own?
8.
8 units. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So you're managing your own.
Yep.
Are those multi or single family?
Both.
Both?
Yep.
Okay, do you guys want to build that out? Or are you good?
Oh, we want to build that out.
You do? Okay.
I feel like every year it's kind of a goal to add at least 1 or 2 more. And I don't know, I think this last year we added a few. And
yeah, really smart for realtors to do that once you start understanding the financial side and the tax side of the benefit of owning rental real estate and being a real estate salesperson. So note to self, any realtors, like, you need to be talking to an actual CPA that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because the tax benefits for you as a real estate sales, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
With bonus depreciation. And once I learned about that, it was like, ding, ding. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you're taking advantage of all that.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It's really smart. Right.
Yeah.
So you guys, so you went in to, you didn't go into real estate. This is interesting. I didn't know this. So you didn't go in with the idea that you were going to be selling to the average consumer?
I really went into it. I had a listing going into getting my license. And so I thought I'd be doing more. Well, I don't think the foreclosures had quite dried up at that time yet either. So we kind of thought we'd be buying more properties. That's what I had in my mind. And yeah, I ended up helping other people out. Actually, my one of my first sales was with my office manager, Shannon, who's also now a licensed real estate agent. But that was helping a friend out, and I really enjoyed it. And
That's cool.
yeah.
So when did you realize that the real estate is all of a sudden, this is like legit business and career? Was there like a fork in the moment where you were like, whoa, like multiple people are reaching out, or what happened?
I think it was probably like my third year into real estate. I started getting some referrals, like just a few that third year maybe. I capped, which was a big motivator. I was like, well, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
So capping means that you're done paying into the real estate brokerage their commission split,
yes.
right?
Yeah. So then, and I think I still had a few transactions that year so I earned a full commission. It was like, well, this is awesome.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like that was kind of a motivator, getting the referrals. So to me, that meant I was doing a good job, which I always find it's motivating to hear somebody else was so pleased with, their experience that they wanted to pass my name along to somebody else. So that makes me feel good. That's always motivating. So that, and then, yeah, the money side of it was nice. And so I feel like that was probably my third year into it. And it was like, okay. I feel like at that point I started taking maybe anything that I was making and putting it really back into my own business.
Yeah. So then fast forward here, like 8 years later.
Yeah.
Right. You got a legit like real estate business going here. And like, so it sounds to me like it was only like 3 or 4 years ago where you're like, okay, I
Yeah.
gotta get like really structured and I gotta,
Yeah.
adapt what I'm doing here.
Yep.
Yeah. So to fast forward, so was this your best year ever?
Yes.
2024.
2024.
All right. Props to you on that.
Thank you.
So that's really awesome. What do you really enjoy doing? Is there a group that just like warms your heart that you really like working with?
I love first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Well, again, like the educational piece, I like to teach them about buying their first home. That's usually my first, we try and set up a meeting and do an initial consultation, and I like to help guide them. And then it's exciting when they find the home that they want and we get an accepted offer and I can help them get into their first home. And I feel like for a while there, I don't know. It's like owning a home builds your net worth. I feel like it's a big stepping stone for people. And I also think I enjoy helping them with that and getting there.
Totally. It's been hard for them
Yes.
the last few years.
Yes.
It's been rough.
Yes.
Right.
Very rough.
Yeah. It seems to be loosening up a little bit though now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just got to pay more to get in.
Yes.
Right. So it's like, hey, there's inventory now, but the price to enter the market is definitely
Yeah.
up considerably.
It's kind of wild because I think about when when I first got my license and my husband was building homes, it's like that was an entry-level home. And now, what he's building now is like $500,000 easily, which isn't necessarily a first-time home buyer price point. So it's just interesting how it's changed.
Yeah, I remember working with a local builder in Roar Falls, Wisconsin, which, if for anybody that's listening to the podcast, it's definitely a suburb of the Twin Cities if you're not from around here.
Yep.
But it's like kind of the edge.
Yes.
It's like, and to the east, which is cool because it's like rural, very small town feeling.
Yes.
So you can be in downtown St. Paul in a half hour.
Yes.
So it's like this weird mix, and it's in a different state, which like puts this whole other, it's just different because you can go from St. Paul to other directions, and you can drive a half hour, and you're like still in a city.
Yep.
But since it's all highway, it's like right there.
Yeah.
So it's actually really easy to access.
It is.
Yeah, and but I remember breaking $399, right? Like, and we were wondering, like, there's when they were building these homes, there was no home in the city of River Falls that is sold for 400.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was like, what do we get? Like, how is this appraisal going to work? And then it just shows like how much things change.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even then, it's like, I don't know. I saw one recently. I think they sold at $715, which was like, wow.
Yeah. So things have changed a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like you're kind of like the hometown expert now that you've been there a long time. Yeah. You own real estate there. You manage, rental real estate there. So you're probably kind of really mastering the community really well.
Yeah.
Right.
And it does play into it. My kids go to school there. I'm involved in what they're doing and volunteering when I can. And
yeah. How about these people that are moving up in River Falls right now? Like, what advice would you give them if they're looking to go to the next house? So they've had the first home, they're outgrowing it, ready to move. For whatever reason, they got to go to the next one, but they want to stay in the city or within River Falls School District. It's a very common thing, right? Yes. Once they're there, they want to stay there.
Yep. Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah. So what kind of advice would you give them if they're ready to move out of that first house into the second house?
It's funny you ask, because I just wrote an offer last night that was accepted today, that exact situation.
Yeah.
I would say the first thing to do would be to contact your real estate agent, or, I don't know, maybe you've seen somebody else. I don't know. Contact a real estate agent. Get connected so you know the steps you need to take to get into that next home. It also helps you to be ready to know what you have to work with by having a CMA done on your house. I like to actually get...
What's the CMA mean?
A market analysis on your house. So we'll give you a price point.
Sure.
And I like to give the whole breakdown so you know you have a pretty good estimate going into your purchase on what you have to work with. Mm-hmm. But it just helps you to get all those pieces lined up so that you're prepared for when that house comes on the market, that you can write an offer on it.
Do you ever have anybody miss out?
Absolutely.
Because they're not prepared.
And I feel terrible about it.
Yeah.
So... yeah.
Did you ever warn them and they still don't do it?
Yes.
And then you're like, see, like I told you to be ready and you weren't ready.
Yep.
And you just missed out on your dream.
And that usually is the inspiration to, okay, let's do this now.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Because usually most people can't sell their house in a week if they're moving up, right?
Exactly.
You need to do it right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So meeting with an agent, and then, at least when I meet with you, I actually try to get all the listing side prepared for you so that it's a smoother transaction.
Mm-hmm. So the listing side, like the house prepared or the documents, or what do you?
All of it. So we kind of go through all of it. So you're at least prepared. And then if that right house comes on the market, like right now, I think you're probably able to write a home sale contingent offer. That way we can be ready to get your house on the market the next week once your new home has an accepted offer on it.
Yeah. So do you know if River Falls inventory is up or down?
It's up a little bit.
It is.
But it's still low.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of there's not a tremendous amount of new construction in River Falls,
No.
right? No. So there's not the new inventory in that way.
Right. I think all the new developments were from the early 2000s. And I feel like they're kind of on their last phases. And I think there's just 2 not open builder developments going on right now. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not, like some of the other bigger suburbs where there's tons of new construction. So really a lot of people that are coming to River Falls, they're buying an existing home.
Yep.
Right. Like they're not getting So in an established neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah. What is that? Do you know what the average sale prices are right now?
I think we're about $385.
So it's still pretty affordable.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just huge.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of, with that average, River Falls, from my observation from the outside, doesn't have tons of townhouses and stuff. So,
not a whole lot.
So,
no.
Yeah. So you can get a single family home in there for $400K.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It is.
Yeah. That's super, super cool. So help our real estate friends here, right? That are watching this, because you've been able to scale your business in the last few years, killer, and the market's been down. So you're up over the last 5 years while the market has less sales. in that time? Like, is there anything special that you're doing? Do you feel like to like cater to your clients that they really want to keep working with you?
I will say I do with the property management company. I do feel like I've had a number of multifamily listings. So just working with those clients on that side of our business, I feel like they usually come to me when it's time to sell those properties. And then I feel like I've got some systems in place for myself so that I make sure that I don't checklist, more or less, so I don't miss anything with my current clients. And hopefully I've got all my ducks in a row with that they're happy. It makes a smooth transaction for them, and they pass my name along.
Yeah, that makes sense. But just being organized.
Yeah.
Because it's insane to me and how many different realtors we work with that are so disorganized they don't even know what's going on. Right? Like, which is a little frustrating for the client.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting this big commission and you'd be doing the right thing for them.
Yeah.
And you don't even understand what's happening in the transaction. I'm sure you've come across that before.
Yes.
Like on the other side.
Yes.
It's like, whoa, this is bad.
Yep.
Yeah, they give the real estate a bad name, where all the top producers usually are pretty good and pretty on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what do you think next year's going to look like? You got an opinion on that?
I kind of think it's going to be, I feel like a balanced year, maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking hopefully rates will come down a little bit. I think that'll open up inventory a little bit. I do feel like even it's December now, I feel like I'm getting plenty of phone calls for people ready to or preparing to list their homes in the spring. So I do think we're going to see a little bit more wiggle room, a little more inventory.
Sure. For all the people inquiring to you right now, is there a specific theme that you're seeing, or is it just a little bit of everything of why they're selling?
I would say, I think it's, I think they're also used to higher rates, not at 2% anymore. But I think they're ready, most of them are ready for more space. That move up home, I would say.
Yeah, that after a while, the rate doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right?
They
If you
just-
got 3 kids living in a 2-bedroom.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, we need this. It's time.
Yeah, I really feel like we're seeing that too.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like it doesn't matter anymore. I understand my rate's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'll pay the extra $1,500 or $1,000 a month to upgrade my home.
Yep.
Right, and just
Yeah.
get what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a big deal because you got these people, especially in River Falls.
Yes.
Those home values went crazy.
They did.
If you bought a house in River Falls 10 years ago to now, I mean, it could be triple.
Yep.
Right? Like it's
Yeah.
wild, like what happened there for home prices.
Yes.
Because it seemed to kind of lag behind
Yeah.
for whatever. Now it's caught right up. But it
I-
just seemed to be, I don't know why, it didn't go up as fast as some of the other markets.
Yeah. I don't know either, but it certainly seems like it's caught up now.
Yeah, it totally has. So, which is amazing if you're living in River Falls right now and you're listening to this and you haven't looked at what your home is worth, you're probably really surprised.
Yes. You might want to call me and find out.
Yeah, right. Like that's the idea. Man, we have that happen where we talk to clients and it's like, do you know what your home is worth? And they're like, no. And we tell them and they're like, OMG.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
I owe $150,000 on this and it's worth $450,000.
Yep.
Like, this is crazy. It's like, yeah, what could you do with that? And they're like, I don't know. What could I do with that?
Yeah.
Right? And they don't even realize, like, all right, you could use that to level up to the next place.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah. So if they can get away from that super cheap payment, it's usually like the hold back on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, do you feel, so I feel like us working together, I really saw just recently that because your husband's a contractor, you bring a really cool perspective, like where we had a recent transaction that the house needed some work, but it had to happen like
Yesterday.
yeah, right. And he was able to step in and help coordinate some things and get it done right away.
Yep.
Yeah, not even coordinate. I think he might have won right on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It was, yeah. It is nice. It's nice to have that in my back pocket. I'm sure he loves that. but it is nice. And it's, yeah, we needed some work to be done. I think we found out on a Friday that what we needed to get done. And I met my client out there with my husband on Saturday or Sunday. And Monday he was out there. They got the work done. We had to have another contractor come and look at it. But because of him, I feel like I'm connected to other contractors as well. And we got it all done in the nick of time.
The deal.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Yeah, like that literally saved the situation.
Yes.
Like otherwise it wouldn't have closed.
Yep.
Yeah, so by being able to just act quickly,
Yep.
you're able to keep these clients getting into their new home.
And we stayed on time.
Yes, right? Like,
Yeah.
no excuses.
Yeah.
Right, for closing late. It's like, yeah, get it done.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Me too.
And I appreciate you taking a lot of action on that because I feel like you have this really soft demeanor, right? But then you're like, let's get it done.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. You're not the hammer. You're like more going to make things, get it done with some honey. I'm like a hammer. You're like, let's sweeten this up a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So right now, is your husband building? Like, does he build houses right now?
So right now, well, actually for the last few years, he's only built on spec. So not for customers, but right now he's only building rentals.
Oh, yes.
So
Okay.
we just broke ground on one maybe a few weeks ago. So he's building another rental for us.
Yeah, cool. So for yourself?
Yes.
Okay,
personally.
that's really cool.
Yep.
So you'll be able to build your own
Yes.
real estate. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Because you get to build the equity right into it.
Exactly.
That's genius. Like you could
We
just
like
do that
it.
forever.
And there's not much maintenance right away.
Yeah, right?
So that's
so
nice
once you
too.
put in for a real estate investor, when the house is done, you're like good for probably 5 years.
At least. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's beautiful.
It is.
You're not getting the toilet calls and
Yeah.
all that.
Yep.
Wow. Why don't you guys just keep doing that?
It's hard to find lots.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what there's actually no city lots in River Falls. There aren't any available. They're all been sold.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
So that's a problem.
That's the challenge right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And developing is really expensive.
Yep.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So you guys even renovated your own office.
We did.
Yeah. It looks
That was
beautiful.
a fun project. Thank you.
Yeah. It looks cool.
Yeah.
I think that is such a big value that is overlooked, that when you can go in, you have all this experience now in the contracting side, that you can probably look at a property, tell a client like, ugh, like this is going to be a lot of work.
Yes.
And you realize how expensive this could be to improve this.
Yep.
Because they're like, oh, no big deal. I'll just do this kitchen.
Yeah.
Great. Do you have those conversations?
I do. Gosh, I can remember when, I think it was just this last summer where we looked at a property and that buyer was like, well, we can do this, this, and this. And I'm like, you only wanted to sink $100,000 into it. Like those renovations, like at least I have a ballpark on the cost of those kind of renovations because she was well outside her budget.
Very cool.
And we had that conversation and we passed on that house. So
Yeah. Whereas maybe a less confident or an agent that is, like just doesn't know, like they're a little naive because they don't know what they don't know, it might just allow that person to move forward and you're not setting them up for success.
right.
Right.
Yeah, I would hate to not know and send them into something they're going to just be sinking money into.
Yeah, some
Right.
people they're naive to the situation. So they're going in and they're thinking that, I'm a young buyer, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to fix it up. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you got kids and a family and like, you don't have the money
Yeah.
for this. Like maybe you should just spend a little bit more.
And get something that's ready for you. Yeah.
That's a conversation we have all the time.
Yep.
Where it's like, okay, I know that furnace and the few things you're talking about don't seem like much, but that's like 20 grand.
Yeah.
Here, like, and you don't have
Easily.
it.
Yep.
So, but if you spend 20 grand more, your payment's like $120.
Yeah.
Like, what's easier to come up with, 20K or 120 a month?
Yeah.
And they're usually like 120 a month. Like, okay, then just spend more,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
I think that also drives why some of these finished houses go crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
when they're already beautiful and there's a bow on it, and, like on the
Yes.
outside, like
Yeah.
people move in, they can just, it's like, it's move-in ready.
Turnkey. Yeah, I feel like that is another trend I'm I'm seeing is that's what people want. That's what buyers want.
Yeah. I don't know if this next group of buyers knows how to be as handy.
I agree.
Yes, group. Right?
Yeah.
Like they might watch it on TV or YouTube, but I don't know if they actually know that pragmatically how to do it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They grew up in just a different generation.
Well, and I feel like even on the rental side, we're seeing that it's like, well, conversations are usually as our lease is coming up, are you thinking about moving? And, well, no, it's nice that I can just call and you guys fix everything for me, or I don't know how to do this. You guys can do it. So I feel like I am seeing some of that,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is interesting to me.
Totally. So it's almost like this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the 20-somethings more about it, right? Like that they're willing to like go in and do it and do the work. And I don't know why this is. And like the 30-somethings are less about it.
Yep.
About doing the work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think about like 2008, we've lost, I feel like we missed out on a bunch of upcoming labor, like tradesmen, right? And I feel like with my son is in high school, I feel like there is a lot of, hey, you could get into HVAC or become an electrician, that kind of thing. And I don't know, maybe we missed some of that. I don't know. But I'm starting to see more of that now where his friends, that's what they're thinking of pursuing rather than going to a 4-year college.
That's true.
So maybe there's something to do with that. I don't know.
I think you're onto something there. Like because that group, the trades they got pushed away from the trades.
Yeah.
Right?
During that low time, yeah.
And then now trades say, hey, this is a pretty good gig again.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're going to be able to step right in and have
Work.
a great income.
Yep.
Right out of high school.
Yep.
Potentially. Yeah. So whereas the 30, kind of like the millennial generation, it was almost like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? And so then they didn't even focus on that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might be honest.
I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really, really smart. So, well, I think that I'm really impressed by your business and how you've done things and what you've done and how big your real estate business is in 8 years is crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And like where you're going is probably going to be even bigger. It's going to be really fun to watch you guys on building because I feel like the Jenkins, you have an empire going here. You got the property management, you got the real estate, you got the rental real estate, you got the building. Like you kind of have the quadruple crown here of how you guys are doing that. So not only is that really cool for you, it's cool for the people you work with.
Yeah. I have a way to help you out, whatever you need. I feel like
Yeah, I agree.
we've got you covered.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you for hanging out on the pod. I really, really appreciate it, and I value your insight.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for having me.